Yeah, so Kathy Hochul celebrating the clean slate bill. So what's clean slate? This is coming out from the Progressive Light in New York, also known as the Republicans, Senate Republicans in New York. Hochul and the Democrats, clean slate bill, a victory for criminals, a loss for public safety. One, it automatically seals the records of individuals convicted of felonies, including violent crimes such as assault, robbery, and even manslaughter. Two, will place undue strain on law enforcement resources as they monitor offenders. Three, it will make it more difficult for employers to make informed hiring decisions as they will no longer to be able to see an applicant's full criminal history. Four, it makes it more difficult for landlords to protect their tenants as they will no longer be able to see a tenant's full criminal history. Now, I see good and I see bad in it. One, do people deserve second chances? Absolutely, they do. So why do New York City police officers not get that same favor done for them? So people change. I think after a certain amount of time, people's criminal records get expunged, even for some egregious crimes, like they said, robbery. I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing. But when we fast forward over to the New York City Police Department, just take a look at Eric Dim's 50A. Go to his 50A, type in Eric Dim. That will, for eternity, remain out there, public info for you to look up. Most of the charges that they charged Eric Dim with, he was found not guilty of, yet they remain there. The accusations remain. And again, these are administrative charges. They're not even criminal. So why is Eric Dim's, or every cop in New York City, disciplinary record, and sometimes not even disciplinary record, just what they were accused of, accessible to the public for eternity? But we have people who are out there robbing people, and after a certain amount of time, it gets cleared. Where it doesn't make sense to me. Like the things don't add up to me. It's like, okay, I could kind of see what you're saying about clean slate, but then why doesn't the police officers get the same? Make it make sense, because it doesn't make sense to me.
Well said, brother. We've been talking about this, and I totally agree. We evolve. I'm sure, look at Mike Tyson, for instance, a 58-year-old man, boxing, a legend. He was not the same man in that ring as he was when he was 20, when he was 19 years old. And when he was 19 years old and he won the championship, he's not the same person physically. He's not the same mentally. We all change. We all evolve, and times change also. So, again, I think this is complete hypocrisy right now. What is a standard? And I agree. People deserve a second chance. Some people deserve a third chance. You do your time. You should not suffer in society. If you paid your debt to society, you should be given a second chance. You should have an opportunity. I understand the clean slate. The clean slate gives people an opportunity to make money, gives them an opportunity to get housing, right? This is one of the arguments we've always heard for years, is that when people do their time and they come out of jail, because of their record, they can't get a fruitful job. They can't get housing. They can't get themselves in these positions to actually start to be a fruitful member of society, and they go back to criminal activity. So I understand it. But again, the hypocrisy is Eric Dim, who's the most complained cop, according to the 58, is public record. And that will be there forever until we can fight this, and hopefully we can change it one day. And that's what we're doing here right now. It's Financial Time to Flip the Podcast. But until then, if you look at someone's 58, it's not only substantiations, but it's actually just allegations. And again, if you look at my case, I actually won some of those cases. I was found not guilty, and those allegations still remain on that 58. So it makes you unattractable in your law enforcement career and actually afterwards. So if I was out there right now, I'm not out looking for work, but if I was out looking for a job, immediately there's going to be a scrub of my social media. That's going to come up, and there's going to be a lot of questions, and that will make me unattractable to an employer, especially someone who's in the public eye. And if they don't understand police work, if I decide to take another avenue, there's going to be a lot of questions and a lot of doubt. So right now, I feel at this point, I'm 2 years of retirement, and I have created distance from myself from that moniker of the most complained cop. But again, that's always something that's going to be there. It's like getting an allegation of rape. It's a stigma that you don't want there, and it's tough to lose. So again, there should be a clean slate for police officers also. Absolutely agree.
Things don't make sense to me. And that's what we've been exploring, right? It doesn't make sense to me that you're in one hand, you're alleviating people who've been convicted of crimes, and you're saying, okay, you should get a second chance. And I agree with that. I totally agree with that. I agree you should get a second chance. But guess what? Oh, but you're a cop, and these administrative things, you got found guilty of wearing white socks when you were supposed to have black socks. That's going to stay on your record forever. So every time I go to get a job, every time you go to get a job, every time if you submit an application to a landlord, they get to see everything about Eric Dim. They're like, oh my God, Eric Dim was accused of sticking his finger up somebody's rectum? Oh my God, that he does look like a creep. He has weird fingers. He's got weird fingers. I don't know. You think he did it? And so like I don't see that. And then, it's the same thing. There's no consistency in the political structure of New York whatsoever. And then we fast forward, we go over to the same thing. You look at this Office of the Nightlife, and they're like, we want to help businesses. We want to cure you. And then when you call the Office of the Nightlife, they want to hammer you unless you go pay somebody else a side fee, unless you help some consulting firm get paid really high, and then they'll take care of all your stuff for you. But then they're going crazy. They went nuts about the March program. They said, oh, we don't like that. We don't like the March program. The March program's no good. You go in there, you don't help these businesses. These are tax-paying businesses. These are businesses that provide jobs. And then take it over to the marijuana, and they're basically doing the March program. And it's like nothing makes sense. There's no consistency. Eric Adams needs to change, get stuff done, to hashtag arbitrary and capricious. Every policy he has, arbitrary and capricious. If you're my friend, you could do whatever you want. You can make $400,000. You don't have to abide by any of the mandates. You don't have to abide by any of the rules. The laws are a mere suggestion for you. If you're not, I'm throwing the book at you with everything I got. You're going to be held accountable, because then no one's above the law. And it should really be, well, it's not no one's above the law. It's just if you're not in the club, you're not above the law. If you're in the club, you're above the law.